Welcome to Miss Stone's 6th grade ELA class. This is a standard ELA course for 6th grade students. We're going to start this unit by going through digital citizenship because we will be using technology throughout this entire school year. Students are going to use this unit in order to identify how they should be representing themselves while they're online. Students will also be working on a choice board. The choice board is going to help students to demonstrate their understanding of the progression of plot within a short story. The course schedule is going to be involving 5 one-week long modules. Each module is going to cover and build on the one prior. Students will have access to their accommodations as listed in their 504 IEP plans, but the other students in the class will also have access to our text-to-speech on our Chromebooks, closed captioning, read aloud from the authors for our short stories, enlarging fonts, and other cool little applications and add-ons that come with the Chromebooks. Google Classroom is the platform that we're going to be using for this. Our students use Google Classroom in every one of their classes. They used it all through COVID, and they used it throughout elementary school. So it's a platform that is readily available to them, and it's not something new that they would have to learn. I absolutely love Google Classroom because they can access it from their phones, from their tablets, from home, from wherever they are, as long as they have service. They also have the option to work on Google Docs when they're offline, and the document will just save once they become online again. It's a really cool feature. This is the Google Classroom that I have created for this assignment. We have our Meet up there at the top, and we can generate a new link. We have our class codes, and we have all of the assignments that are currently uploaded. If we go to the top of Google Classroom, we'll see classwork. Clicking there will give you more detail and it will better organize the assignments for students. Clicking there will bring you here. And so we have a list of all 5 of the modules. We can click those, go through those. Module 1 is our digital citizenship module. Opening up Module 1, you will be able to scroll through, see the learning objectives and the standard for ISTE, along with the resources and the instructions. Within the instructions, I've also included links for students to be able to access things a little more easily. Within this module, students will complete an ed puzzle on digital citizenship where they have to watch the video and answer some questions. At the end of the module, students will be able to use a digital interactive game where they go through some high school as one of these little characters, and they get to make digital citizenship decisions. So starting out, students will walk into the high school and to decide what they want to post on a new social media application. And based on the decisions that they make, they will go down multiple different pathways. And they can show you their progress, and this can go in as a grade book. You can use it as an assessment. After Module 1, we have Module 2. This is where they're going to explore the initial parts of plot. We will be looking at characterization, the exposition, setting, point of view, and things of that nature in this specific module. For presentation of the information, I'll be using quizzes lessons because you can embed all kinds of questions and games inside. I also have a link to our reading, our short story for this unit, for this module. It's called The Cloud. In it, we can see our student view. This is what the students will be seeing once I assign it to them. Here they have their text-to-speech option. Once we're back on teacher view, we can have access to the resources. Within the resources, we have our author read aloud. So here we have where our author can actually read the story aloud to the students. They're not limited to listening to a robotic voice. As we move into Module 3, we'll be reaching conflict and resolution. Students will be going over the types of conflicts and how stories move from rising action into climax, into falling action, into resolution. And that's a pretty large chunk of this unit. One of the resources that they'll have access to is this nice little graphic organizer. So it discusses what plot is with them, and then it gives them a nice little plot pyramid to plot as they are reading through the story. Module 4 is where we put that work into practice. So we will be looking at independent individual essays for each student. There are 3 different essays on Scope magazines that are leveled based on the student's reading level. So our goal here is to get them within their ZPD so that they aren't reading too high or too low. Within these short stories, students will be instructed to do the work on their own, but they can do the reading either with pairs, so they can do paired reading with pairs that I group. They can do independent reading, or they can listen to the read aloud and follow along because each author reads their own story aloud. Having these options really helps students who are right at the cusp and are reading right above where they are performing or a few steps above where they are performing. And it helps them to become more confident and connected so that they can gather more understanding. This strategy helps to take away some of that nervousness of reaching words that students can't actually read or can't decipher, can't break down. This also eliminates the idea that there is failure in reading because you have so many different options to help you reach your comprehension goal. Within Module 4, we also have wiser worksheets. Students will be asked to create their own digital worksheet at the end of this module to kind of gauge their understanding of the concepts. Here are all the activities that students can create, but I'm limiting them to 2. And Module 5. Module 5 is our ending product. So we're going to be creating a project. Students will have a choice board, again, to scroll through and figure out what they want to do. So they will essentially just be creating a product that displays a plot map in a different way. So they can use Poplet, or they can use a Google slide, which they all should know how to use. They also have a flip snack that's kind of like a digital book, or they can use Pixton to create a comic strip. And those are their options. They have their rubric right posted into there so they can click on that and access it immediately. Of course, the rubric works on a 100-point scale. Students are able to see it, not exactly in this format, but they are able to see each section and how each section is weighted. They're able to use this as they're working through the project so they can check in on themselves. Students are also going to use this rubric to do peer edits. They will be paired and be required to edit 2 people's projects. This unit works through Mayer's 12 principles by number 1, coherence. I have included links to reading applications that work on lock mode so students don't have so much clutter and they don't have that temptation to click around on tabs. It locks out and all they can see is what I have assigned for them. We also have principle number 2, which is signaling. Modules are broken into 5 separate modules. So we've broken down that information even further within the modules so that they have sequential order on their work. They can work through each one and they know what's coming up next. With redundancy, we try to eliminate narration, graphics, and text all in one area. But students do have access to having 2 at a time, and we're just trying to work with accommodations. With spatial, that principle, we are giving students graphic organizers, and I try to always give students the option to see the organizer in digital format and work there, or to work from a paper and pencil format. So they are able to see the text and create a visual representation for themselves using text and images. With temporal conjuity, we have Schmoot videos, Edpuzzle, the modules built into quizzes lessons. Students have access to hear me, hear the video. They have access to including closed caption. They can hide, add, and take away what they need to help them focus more on the content. There's also segmenting, where we have the modules broken down in chunks, and then those modules that are week long are broken into days so that they can break down that information and it's in sequential order. For pre-training, these students have been doing something with Clot ever since the fourth grade. So this is year two, working on this. They should have some level of background knowledge, and it should be mostly solid. We have multimedia, visuals, sounds, manipulatives. They can get on there and have fun with module number 5. As stated previously, with this voice, number 11, students have access to the actual authors reading their short stories aloud. This gives students a break from that text to speech, um, drone on robotic voice. It gives them a face and a voice to match with the story that they're reading. This unit encompasses the universal design for reading. Students are given the options to do peer readings, they are doing some group work, and they have a choice board. So they're given choices about how they want to complete the final project in Module 5. One of my biggest struggles with this presentation was deciding on how much information to place into each module. I lesson plan, I am a teacher, but for some reason doing this, my brain was going in a million different directions. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know how far I wanted to go in depth with things. And I believe that one of my biggest struggles in the classroom is getting students invested to take the time to read and comprehend the text. There's always so much more that you want to read, and each time you read, you can find out more about the characters, the plot, and yourself. So that's what led me to doing this unit on this module on this topic. Because it's a shorter text and they read it multiple times to get a better understanding of how the characters play, how the plot plays out, and how they can map that. This digital citizenship element that I added in, even though it was the first thing I completed, it felt like it was out of place. I think I need to work on integrating it more naturally instead of just throwing it in the forefront and then getting to my content area that I'm very passionate about. Well, that was my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.